Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Second episode of the week. Dan and Danny talk sports.
Look
if
at
you're new
us.
here, my name's Dan Studer. Alongside me, as always, is Danny Gulix. Danny, how are you doing this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm ready for some Thursday night football. That's how I'm doing. My team, Steelers, got a primetime game.
Both of our teams have primetime games this week.
Oh, you guys are Monday?
We're the Monday night game.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Question, because I forgot to ask you before the pod, but also it doesn't really matter that much. What do you work Monday?
Monday, I can tell you in one
potentially?
second.
If you
I want to say I don't close on a Monday.
If you don't close, do you wanna potentially maybe stream a little watch party?
I would much rather do that on Sunday because I'd actually kind of rather watch the game like with my dad and my sister on Monday.
We could try. We're gonna attempt to watch party Sunday night. We're gonna attempt.
Okay.
So man, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I don't know if anybody is listening right now. I've told a couple of people at my job about us, and I know at least two people that are going to be listening to the episode that just got posted earlier today, our week 2 review. If you're listening to my week 3 pick'ems, hi guys.
Yeah, shout out Vin.
Starbucks.
Shout out my boy Vin from work. He's new and he's probably gonna be watching this. He's my boy. Shout out him. Shout out the people from Starbucks. Shout out everybody watching. Y'all are cool.
We love you guys. Well, Danny, last night there was some history that occurred, not in the NFL, but over on the diamond. Last night, Aaron Judge hit his 60th home run. And for those that are not baseball people out there, everybody obviously knows that Barry Bonds has had the record that he set. I want to say it was in 2003, 2004. And I want to say it's I believe it's 73 home runs that he hit in one season with the Giants. 2001 also kind of sounds familiar. But the New York Yankee record through 1960 was owned by Babe Ruth for 60 home runs in one season. 60 home runs in one season until 1961 when you had the M&M Bros. You had Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle both trying to beat Babe Ruth's record. Roger Maris did beat Ruth's record by 1. So currently the most home runs by a Yankee and also the most home runs by an American League hitter is Roger Maris at 61. So tonight, the Yankees are playing the Pirates and going for number 61. I've got the game up on my iPad right now, so if I see 61 while I'm recording and I start freaking out, you guys will know why.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Like even as like a non-crazy baseball fan, like I do be watching. I'm a C potentially if I can go to a Mets playoff game, depending on how much tickets are.
But yeah, Mets they just clinched the other day.
Shout out to them. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Rockies fan. But you're
a weirdo. Fan. That's what you are.
Shut up.
You're also a Steelers fan, Danny, which brings us in to our week 3 pick'ems.
Dude, you're getting so good at the transitions. You
are.
Hey,
thanks, man.
You are.
I try.
Like I remember. I know y'all most likely did not watch the older episodes. But I remember this man would be scared to jump into the conversation unless I said his name. I remember I would have to talk the whole time until I said his name. He's gotten so much better. I'm so proud of my guy.
Hey, thanks, man.
So proud of my guy. All right, but we're into week 3 predictions. Thursday night football. I got it pulled up right here. Steelers versus Browns. I mean, we all know that I'm going to go with the Steelers. I have my reasoning. I'm sure y'all don't care because you knew that I was going to go with the Steelers, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. The Browns are a very good team on defense. On offense, they are not. The Steelers' run defense, I feel like, can take a step up this week because we do have good players. We just got to put it together on the field. It's going to be tough to put it together this week going against Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So fantasy outlook, if you guys have Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, start them. I don't know why you would bench either one of those guys on a week-to-week basis, but if you're thinking about it, don't. But no, I think the Steelers offense can look decent here after I don't even know if we talked about this yesterday. After Mitch Trubisky, Ben Roethlisberger both called out Matt Canada for being a poor offensive coordinator and saying that he doesn't run receivers to the middle of the field. After Mitch Trubisky said that he can look for George Pickens more, and George Pickens said that he was open on 90% of plays. Najee Harris should be a little bit more healthy this week, and Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, or Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. I do think the Steelers can pick this one up. I think it's going to be close. I'm not sure exactly what the line, got the line right here. The Browns are favored by 4.5 points. So the Browns are projected to win by 5 or more. Studer, who are you taking and why?
Yeah, this is a really this is this was one of this was a game that I had a little bit of trouble trying to pick.
Matchup.
But I mean, Danny, at the end of the day, like what you said, correct me if I'm wrong with the saying, but don't the Steelers like know how to beat the AFC North?
The Steelers always know how to beat the AFC North, but also my conviction on that is kind of misplaced right now because it was a lot of Ben Roethlisberger. And now that TJ Watt is out, any easy game is not an easy game. Like we saw that this past week with the Patriots, we lost 17-14. No game's easy. No game's easy. Not in the NFL. Not when you don't have a franchise quarterback that's starting. Not when you don't have your best player overall. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to take the Steelers, but I do think the Steelers can inch one out on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, those are some very good points, Danny. The Steelers and the Browns both at 1-1. The Steelers are 1-0 away. The Browns 0-1 at home. Both of which, the Steelers with a week 1 away win, and the Browns with a week 2 home loss. Danny, I almost kind of forgot about TJ Watt being out just because I don't have him listed right here on my injury report, but the Browns are going to be without Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not sure if they'll have Jesse James.
I hope they do, so he can drop a touchdown. I'm always going to bring it up.
Some stats looking at it, the Browns put up almost 10 more points per game than the Steelers do. It's 28-18 and a half favored the Browns. As for points allowed per game, the Steelers also have 18 and a half. They put up just as much as they allow, while the Browns allow just half a point less of what they score. The Browns allow around 27 and a half points per game. Cleveland kind of blew. I think I meant to say this in last week's episode and I didn't. Last week, that Cleveland Jets game, that was Cleveland's game to lose, and they somehow did.
Are we surprised?
Danny, the last
Juju Smith-Schuster said, the Browns are the Browns.
The last 2 games for Pittsburgh, they've put up 23 and 17 against Cincinnati and New England, respectively. As for the Browns, have put up 26 and 31 against the Jets. Danny, I'm going to go Cleveland here. Will I regret saying this? Probably.
I hope so. Probably not realistically. Steelers never win the gimme games. I wouldn't consider this a gimme game, though.
If I could have seen a little bit more offensive production from the Steelers, I get like what you said, going against 2 solid defenses. Granted, I mean, Cleveland does allow a lot. This is tough.
It's a tough game. It's a tough matchup. Lock it in. Tell me what you're
nothing against you. I'm going to go Cleveland.
Locking it in. We got some breaking news breaking right now. Justin Herbert is considered day-to-day before their matchup this week. Something to look at, fantasy-wise at least. Say what you were going to say.
The over-under for this game is set at 38 and a half.
Oh, that's not what I have, actually. I have 40 and a half. I don't know what you're looking at. I'm looking at CBS.
I have Caesar Sportsbook via ESPN.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the over on both. It's a AFC North matchup. They're always either super defensive or super offensive, and I'm gonna think that it's gonna be the super offensive. Even though I said that they're both good defenses, I don't know why it's just a gut feeling. So next game.
This is such a tough game. Yeah, I guess I'll stick with the Browns. I'm sorry, I'm like still second guessing it.
It's locked in now. We moved on.
Oh, damn.
Next game though. I think this is a heater. This is gonna be a barn burner of a game. Bills versus Dolphins. 2 of the most impressive teams of the season so far. 2 players that were both just featured on the last thumbnail in Jalen Waddle and Stephon Diggs. What? That's kind of crazy. two high-powered offenses, two very good defenses thus far into the season. Um, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Bills are the best team in the league. It's gonna be hard for me to take a team over the Bills this year, which is stupid because I don't think that they're gonna go 17-0. But I'm still taking them. I think the Bills are gonna win. I do think it's gonna be a close game. I really do.
Yeah, Danny, Buffalo favored to win this match right now, 61% to Miami's 39. Little injury report. Also, let's talk about the spread really quickly. Buffalo is favored by 6 points.
Yeah, which is a weird spread. 6 points.
The reason why I think that's weird is I'm looking at Buffalo right now. Buffalo is only allowed 8.5 points per game.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take Buffalo to cover. If I were betting on this game, which I'm not because I'm not 21, I would take Buffalo to cover. That's
Yeah, Danny, I'll make a long story short. I'm gonna pick Buffalo here. I'm just gonna ride Buffalo really until they disappoint me and let me down. As for
that's
a quick
the only
little
thing
injury
you can do.
report, Dawson Knox right now is questionable for Buffalo, as well as Micah Hyde, and another name that we didn't talk about on the last episode, but that's because we were kind of trying to wrap up quick. Thoughts and prayers to Dane Jackson. Wow, that was a scary play. Thank God he avoided any serious injury. That was really really scary to watch. As for Miami, Xavier Howard is also questionable. Of course, this could change. Regardless, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it's also tough doing these pickups on a Wednesday evening when practice is just starting up for the week. So we don't really know who's playing, who's not. Are we going to give ourselves till Saturday to make changes?
I would say till kickoff, honestly, to make changes because, people could be a game time decision.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to give us till kickoff to make decisions. If we switch up, follow our Twitter, it'll be posted there. But we'll also probably, if we remember to, talk about it on our recap. But besides the point, both take the Bills, we move. Next, Bengals versus Jets. One team that's looked very, 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 very bad so far. And one team that's looked which is good. You didn't expect from the Jets. You also didn't expect bad from the Bengals.
Right. An AFC championship team.
I am going to ride until the absolute wheels fall off. The Joe Flacco knows how to beat the AFC North train. The Bengals have looked bad. Their offense has looked bad. Their offensive line has looked scary. Horrible. Scary, horrible. Let me just clarify that. The Jets offense has looked good. Question mark? Weird. Joe Flacco has looked good? Question mark? Weirder. I'm gonna ride it. I like watching the Jets win. I don't know why. It's something about being from the area and seeing the Jets and the Giants win, and the Mets and the Yankees while we're at it. Like all these teams win. I feel like it just boosts everybody's morale here, and I like to watch it. So I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, Danny. The spread for this game, or the line rather, Cincinnati's favored by 5, with a percentage at 78-22 in favor of Cincinnati. The Jets do put up more points per game than the Bengals, 20-18.5.
Yeah.
However, the Jets also allow more points per game by about 5.5.
Shut up.
I'm going to go with the Bengals here. I realistically don't see them starting this season 0-3. They did almost make a comeback last week against Dallas. Sure, they shouldn't have had to. They should have been able to stop Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys.
Listen, the Bengals can't beat a backup quarterback, and they're playing another one this week.
That is very true. And of course, like you said, it's Joe Flacco who knows how to beat the AFC North. But
it's compelling. You gotta admit it's at least compelling to take the Jets over the Bengals.
It's a little concern, and it is concerning the fact that Cincinnati can't beat a backup quarterback. This was one of the games that right now I don't have anything typed in, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take the Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair enough. Next one.
It seems as though the Jets had a tough time. Sorry, really quickly just before we go. It feels like the Jets had a little bit of a tough time covering Amari Cooper. So to have to be worrying about, Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins.
It's rough.
I feel like there's a couple more offensive threats that the Bengals have versus the Browns.
You're right. It's true. The Bengals have a way better team on paper, but I want to see it on the field before I can start taking them, even over the likes of the Jets. Next game.
Danny, what's our next game?
Yeah, let me bring that. Next game is Raiders versus Titans. Both teams that looked absolutely sad last week. Let me take that back. Let me walk that back a little bit. The Raiders didn't look absolutely sad. They had a chance to win the game, except our boy Hunter Renfrow fumbled twice.
Oh, don't remind me.
I'm reminding myself, man. I'm sad, so you have to be sad.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I feel like this should be a good game. The Raiders don't have a great run defense, so Derrick Henry should look like Derrick Henry and not be another fantasy bust this week or another Derrick Henry bust. We're just gonna call it that. The Raiders, they look good in week 1. They didn't look good in week 2. The Titans just haven't looked good, period. So I'm going to go with the Raiders. I want to see the Titans muster up something. I need their passing offense to be something.
Yeah, Danny, I'm also going to take Vegas here. Vegas favored at 58% to 41. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't equal 100. But Vegas is favored here by only 2 points. But we'll have to see if Vegas does get Hunter Renfrow. Last I heard, he was being tested to see if he has a concussion. This is just a simple case of Tennessee doesn't score a lot and Tennessee lets up a lot.
I get you also can't really look at.
They did just play the Buffalo Bills, but at the same time, they also just lost to the New York Giants. They gave them their first 1-0 start since 2016.
The 2-0 New York Giants. Might I add?
Oh, excuse me. Did I say 1-0?
No, you just said the New York Giants. I just wanted to bring it up.
The 2-0 New York Giants.
Yeah.
Will they be 3-0? Well, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to Monday Night Football. So y'all just wait for that. What's up? Be patient. You get to move on to the next game?
Yeah, let's do it. Gotcha. This was also a game that I didn't have it written in, so I am now filling it in.
Nice. Next game is this will be a doozy. This will be a NFL Red Zone. Please don't show me any highlights from this game. Saints versus Panthers. Neither team has a good quarterback. Both teams have a good running back when they're healthy. Both teams have a promising receiver core ? If you really look at it on paper, these teams are very similar. Very similar. Solid defenses, horrible quarterbacks, a top 2 running backs when they're healthy, promising receiver rooms. They both have a gadget player in Taysom Hill and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is not a gadget player. I should not have clarified him as that, but he can play every position on the field, so who cares? This is just my long-winded way of saying I'm taking the Saints. You bet against Baker and it works out. So I'm pretty sure it worked out last week and it's going to do it again. Yeah, it worked out last week. Baker played the Giants. He lost. I bet for the Giants. You bet against Baker, you win.
New Orleans here favored by 3 points with an over-under at 40.5.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under, please. Smash the under on that. 14-10, the final score. If
Danny,
the Panthers
part of me wants to go with the Carolina Panthers.
Wow, explain.
I mean, they lost to Cleveland on a game-ending field goal. They lost to the Giants because the Giants went up by 1 field goal and they weren't able to capitalize on that last drive. Shout out Julian Love.
Big play. I remember that. Oh.
The Panthers average more, not by much, about 1.5. They also allow half a point less. I won't rely too much on the statistic. But one stat that I do like the fact is that Carolina leads a lot in the game.
I mean, fair.
Judge singles to left in his first at bat.
Not a home run.
Oh, excuse me. He doubles. Danny, I'm going to go. Man, this is a tough one. The Saints also have way more yards on the season, both passing and rushing.
They also have a quarterback with a broken back, so that's just kind of rough.
New Orleans has also allowed less rushing yards, which, obviously one of the biggest factors in this game for the Panthers could be Christian McCaffrey after he put up 102 last week against the Giants.
Yeah, he had a decent game. Not a Christian McCaffrey like game, but he had a game. He definitely played football.
I'm gonna go New Orleans. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go New Orleans.
Lock it in.
This is really this was exactly 50-50, which ESPN has the matchup predictor at is literally 50-50.
Because both teams suck.
And indeed they do. But I'm gonna go to the Saints.
Also, I know I shouted out Vin earlier. Shout out Nick if he's listening. He's a Panthers fan. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. That's kind of sad. Next up, we got Ravens versus Patriots. Both teams took a win last week. Both teams looked pretty good last week. But here's the factor: Lamar Jackson. We talked about it last night, actually. I was about to say last week. Last night. He's that guy. He can make the plays when they need to be played. Devin Duvernay looks good. Rashad Bateman looks good. New England has a good defense, but they don't have a good offense. Baltimore secondary is kind of atrocious. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure Kevin Fuller just went down with a season-ending injury. So it's going to be a game, and Bill Belichick is still Bill Belichick as a coach. But when you have Mac Jones as your quarterback, who hasn't looked good throughout the first 2 weeks, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. I'm going to take the Ravens just by personnel, by Lamar Jackson being Lamar Jackson and him having a competent receiver room, plus Mark Andrews, who's one of the top tight ends in the league. So give me the Ravens, man. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, Danny, both teams looked good last week, but Baltimore looked great. I'm gonna go with the Ravens here.
Never mind. I was about to say something, but we're gonna save it because we have a segment coming up.
Another new segment.
We have another new segment coming up, so I'm gonna talk about that there. Next up, this is a game.
It is indeed a game.
It's a game. It's a matchup. Tale as old as time. Lions versus Vikings. And I'm just gonna come right out and say it, man. I'm taking the Lions. Taking the Lions. They got a win last night. They led by 21 at one point. They looked good. The Lions, in the same phrase as looked good, is, kind of scary. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks good. Their offense in general looks solid. DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams both look good. Jared Goff looks like a competent quarterback. Not like Super Bowl Jared Goff, but Super Bowl Jared Goff also looks no better than a competent quarterback. The Vikings are solid. They're a solid team. Kirk Cousins, I'm a Kirk Cousins believer, but he is very inconsistent. We all know this. He had a very good week one, and you saw what he did the other night. He did not look good. The difference here is going to be if Kirk Cousins can pass the ball, if Dalvin Cook can run the ball. Like if the Vikings offense is not clicking, they're not going to win the game. There's no chance that the Vikings defense can pull them out of this one. Excuse me. Yeah, no, you need Dalvin Cook to have like 80 plus rushing yards and a touchdown. You need Justin Jefferson to have 10 plus receptions. Like you just need Kirk Cousins to be able to actually feed the ball to where it needs to be fed. And I just don't think that can happen. So I'm taking the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like it's a game of matchups and competitions versus by position. You've got Kirk versus Matt Ryan. Not Matt Ryan. I'm sorry, Jared Goff. Wrong blue and silver team. Kirk versus Jared Goff. You got DeAndre Swift and Dalvin Cook. You got Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Vikings scored 23 and then only 7 in their first 2 weeks while allowing 7 and then 24. So they're basically almost even. Allowing 31 and only scoring 30. As for Detroit, they gave up 38 while scoring 35 against Philadelphia. That's another thing to look at. Both of these teams lost to the Eagles. One was an absolute blowout, and one they stayed in it. Obviously, the Lions staying in it, only losing by 3. I really don't like the way that Minnesota's offense looked. Obviously, only putting up 7 points, but a big part of that was with Darius Slay. But part of that was also just with Kirk Cousins.
He wasn't Minnesota able to put the ball where it belonged, and that's just, you're not going to win games like that.
Well, Minnesota's also playing at home, so that's another thing to keep track of.
I mean, yeah.
What is this? 66-34 in favor of Minnesota. Minnesota also favored by 6 with an over/under at 52.5. I actually think this could be a back and forth game. Part of me wants to lean towards going with the Lions.
You're going Lions? You gonna lock that?
I'm gonna go with the Lions. Yep.
Lock it in, baby. We both take the Lions. I thought you were gonna disagree with me on that.
If Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown 3 picks, then maybe it's a different compared to Goff's just lone interception.
Yeah,
they're pretty even in passing yards too.
Yeah,
but Goff's 6 touchdowns makes me feel a little better. I'm gonna go with the Lions. I can't believe I said Matt Ryan by accident earlier. I apologize.
You're good. All right, next game we got Eagles versus Commanders, both teams that looked surprisingly good throughout the past 2 weeks. The Commanders look like they have a scary receiver room. The Eagles look like they just have a scary offense in general. The Eagles have a great defense. The Commanders defense is solid, I would give it. The Commanders give up a lot of points now that I'm really thinking about it. Like, I'm sure you got the stats. How much points allowed do the Commanders give a game?
29.
Oh, Jesus.
Would you like to guess how many the Eagles give up?
I'm thinking 17.
21.
Oh, okay. I forgot about how big of a game ones the Lions had. But
right.
So I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off and take the Commanders. I know it's kind of a shock. It might sound stupid. Carson Wentz looks like Carson Wentz rolled throughout the first 2 weeks. The run game, Antonio Gibson looked good last week. I know that Brian Robinson.
What about Brian Robinson?
I know that he's practicing. Yes.
I was about to say, what about
I don't know why I blanked on his name after I said it. That's weird. I know that he's practicing, and I know that they want him on the field, and I know that when he gets on the field, he will be the RB1. But until then, it's going to be Antonio Gibson. J.D. McKissick is being used a lot. Curtis Samuel is being used a lot, and they still have Terry McLaurin. I said so many offensive players without saying their best one. That's scary. They have a good defensive line. So, I mean, against the Eagles, probably, I mean, at least just watching it, not looking at the stats, they have one of the best rushing games in the league. They look good. Jalen Hurts looks almost unstoppable, but you're playing one of the fastest lines in football. You got Montez Sweat and Chase Young on the edge. It's a scary matchup for the Eagles on paper. The Eagles do look good. I think it comes down to the wire. I think Commanders take the W.
Danny, you're right. You are stupid. This is an NFC East matchup between the Eagles and the Commanders. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I think I've learned my lesson. Jalen Hurts absolutely shut me up last week.
Yeah, he did.
Philadelphia's also got Miles Sanders. Kenneth Gainwell. You're right. Washington's got a very, very good wide receiver room. I'm also relying on Darius Slay to also have another big game.
Darius Slay can't guard every position.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But I feel like the offense from the Eagles is going to be more productive than it will be for the Commanders. Philadelphia's favored here by 6.5. And I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Do you know what Miles Sanders is most known for?
What is Miles Sanders? Oh, being Saquon Barkley's backup?
Yep. And now let's move on to the blowout of the week. Chiefs versus Colts. Nothing to talk about. Jonathan Taylor, maybe he looks good. Chiefs win. That's it. I'm assuming you have Chiefs win. If you have Colts, I'm booting you from the Zoom call and we're ending the podcast.
Yeah, I'll probably go Kansas City here. I mean, they're favored 60-40, only favored by 5.5 points. So I'd watch how much you say with a blowout, especially if Indianapolis doesn't have Michael Pittman.
Are you serious, my brother? They can have Michael Pittman all they want. I'm not worried about. I'm worried about their defense being able to hold up. Like the Colts have a decent defense, especially their front seven. But man, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I know that the one player doesn't make the offense, but damn, when it's Patrick Mahomes, it does. So I'm going Chiefs. I'm sure you're going Chiefs, and I'm sure we can move on because there's nothing else.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Yep, not really much to talk about there.
Next game, also not much to talk about. Texans versus Bears. Don't watch this game. It's gonna be gross. Taking a 0-0 tie.
Come on.
I don't think either team will score a single point. I actually don't think either team will gain a single offensive yard. I think it's 12 total turnovers combined. I'm kidding. I'm going with the Bears, I guess. It literally just comes down to what team do I like more, and on paper I like the Bears more. That's it. I think the Bears have a better overall roster. So I mean, neither team looked good. Maybe the Texans look decent. I mean, they passed the ball more than 11 times last game, so there's that. I'm taking the Bears. I don't know what to say.
Danny, these are two very evenly matched teams. How even do you ask? Well, they both average 14.5 per game. And Chicago allows half a point more per game, 18.5 to 18.
Oh my God. Let me switch my pick.
One of the biggest factors in this game for Chicago could be David Montgomery. He had himself a game against Green Bay despite losing. But Houston tied against Indianapolis and then only lost by one possession to the Denver Broncos. Chicago is favored here by 2.5. I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans.
I can't tell you you're wrong. I'm taking a tie.
I probably will be wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
If they tie, because I genuinely don't think that it's out of the question, can I give myself 2 wins on the pick'em?
Yes, I'll let you get 2. I'll let you count that as 2 wins if the Bears and the Texans tie. Well, I mean, just look at this, Danny. So far through this season, week 1, Houston scored 1 more point at 20-19, and then in both of their losses, Chicago allowed way more than Houston did. I think Houston's a good pick here.
I can't tell you you're wrong, man. I can't tell you you're wrong. I think neither one of them are a good pick. You bet me winning this game. And sure. Kidding. I'm not an NFL player. I do think that I could score 1 singular point on Trae Young, but I don't.
Oh my God!
But I don't think that I can play in an NFL
hear the
game.
End of this.
No, because you wanted to bring it up so many times that we're not going to stop talking about it.
All right,
Trae Young, I'm calling you out.
That's true. I did used to bring it up a lot.
Play me in a 1-on-1 and give me the ball first. And
what's our next game, Danny?
Thanks for cutting me off, man. I appreciate it.
Let's just move on.
So this is my upset of the week.
Oh.
Jags versus Chargers. I'm taking the Jags. I'm taking them.
Nice. I'm sorry to cut you off. Oswaldo Cabrera just hit a grand slam and the Yankees are already up 4-0. I'm sorry, continue.
I'm sorry, who asked? Got him. And Daniel Studer's hand are on his face.
I will. Thanks, folks, for listening to my final episode. I'm just gonna retire.
Welcome to the Danny Talk Sports.
I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, no, I'm taking the Jags. When it comes to the Herbert injury, now let me explain. If Herbert doesn't start this game, I think the Jags have a very, very real shot of winning. The Chargers have a great defense. The Jags don't. Don't look at me like that.
The Chargers have almost allowed double what Jacksonville has allowed.
The Chargers played the Chiefs, and who did the Chargers play week 1?
Vegas.
Two very good offenses. Sorry, Ever.
Very true.
Who'd the Jags play?
Washington and Indianapolis.
You've proved my point. Trevor Lawrence has looked good. He's looked good. He's showing signs of being a franchise quarterback, which he should, because he was the first overall pick and one of the highest touted prospects that we've ever absolutely seen. It's really more of a gut feeling than anything. I'm not going to try to justify it by stats or by this player and this player and that player. I'm taking the Jags. I think if Herbert plays and he's 100% healthy, like he practices once or twice this week full, I might switch it, but we'll see.
Yeah, Danny, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say, give me the Chargers.
Of course.
But if Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and JC Jackson, if all three of those guys don't play, I might have to switch to Jacksonville. Like I said, we're going to give ourselves until kickoff. If those three are inactive, I will take Jacksonville.
Fair enough.
But
I mean, that's some big
if they at least have Justin Herbert, if I had to pick between either having Herbert and Allen or Herbert and Jackson to not switch.
Herbert and Jackson, that's who I'd pick.
I'd probably pick Herbert and Jackson. Yeah, but obviously, they played last week with no Keenan Allen and still had a pretty good game with
Mikey boy,
Mike Williams.
Use him more.
I'm going to pick the Chargers, assuming Herbert, Allen, and Jackson play. If Allen if Allen doesn't play and Herbert and Jackson do, I'll still pick Los Angeles. But even if one of those guys plays and the other two don't, I might have to switch to Jacksonville.
Fair enough. Next game, Rams v Cardinals. I think this is a pretty big one. Like, Rams v Cardinals is always just fun.
This is a rematch of, what was it, the 5 versus the 4 seed last year in the playoffs?
Yeah. It's a pretty big one. I'm going to take the Rams, reigning Super Bowl champs. After week 1, they're coming out, something to prove. The Cardinals did not look great regardless of the win. Kyler looked good. He broke the Modern Warfare 2 beta allegations, as I said yesterday. But no, I'm going to take the Rams, man. It's just going to be a blowout. It's going to be not a blowout. It's going to be a gun show.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona could easily be 0-2. The Rams also could easily be 1-1. That was a really close game last week at Atlanta. But I'm going to go with the Rams. I think it's kind of just as simple as that. Rondale Moore and James Conner right now are questionable.
I don't think James Conner is going to play. That's just a personal hunch.
I'm gonna pick LA here. Kind of simple.
Next game, Packers versus Bucks. I don't think that there's much to talk about. The Bucks don't have an offense now. Can take the Packers. Mike Evans is suspended. What other weapons do you have besides Leonard Fournette? Chris Godwin might play. He's not going to be healthy. Taking the Packers.
Yeah, what I'm looking at right now, Tampa Bay is favored by quite literally just 1 point. I mean, right now I'm looking at Christian Watson, Randall Cobb, and Sammy Watkins are all questionable right now for the Packers.
They still have their wide receiver 1, Allen Lazard.
That's very true. I'm gonna go Green Bay here as well. It's what I got written down. I don't see myself changing it.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a rough watch, especially considering you're watching 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time playing.
Right. But I mean, AJ Dillon had AJ Dillon did have a very good game last week, as did his running back partner in Aaron Jones. I think it's going to be tough for Tampa to stop. I'm going to go with the Packers.
The running tandem just is good.
It's really good.
The Bucs just have a good defense. They have one of the best nose tackles in the league in Vita Vea. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. All right. Only 3 games left. The last one that's non-prime time, Falcons versus Seahawks, the battle of the bums. My bold prediction for this game is Kyle Pitts finally scores a touchdown. Please, this is his second career touchdown. I need it for fantasy. I drafted him in the 2nd round in our Dynasty League. Don't make me look stupid. You average 4 points per game. And I know
you don't need Kyle Pitts to make you look stupid. All you need is a mirror.
Well, guys, it's been a great run. Welcome to Dan Talk Sports. I'm going to take the Falcons because the Seahawks are actually garbage. Rashad Penny, I believe, is questionable for this game, at least at this point. Um, Geno Smith is Geno Smith. He hasn't looked horrible. I mean, that's a positive. But I'm gonna take the Falcons. Their offense just looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, that game against Denver in week 1 for Seattle doesn't really change the way that I look at Geno Smith. Atlanta, on the other hand, loses by 1 to New Orleans in week 1 and only by 4 in week 2 to the Rams. I think Atlanta's going to come away with their first dub of the season over Seattle.
Fair enough. Next game, Sunday Night Football. 49ers v Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Please. Russ is going to continue trying to cook this week. And I pray to God that it works. I do. He's my starting quarterback in fantasy. Like, please work. It's not going to. The Niners are going to win. Like, the Broncos have looked bad. Russ looks like he's playing on a peewee football team. Not playing on, sorry. He looks like he's coaching it. Have you seen the videos of him on the sideline? Like, telling all the coaches what to do?
I have not, but
it's sad. He's like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this. He's basically coaching every part of the team. I feel bad for Russ, but man, you do it to yourself. I'm taking the Niners. Jimmy G. Let's ride.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with San Francisco here as well. Denver potentially not having KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy. We are Roll Tide. Could be a really big hit for the Broncos. Broncos, like I said, only really won by 1 possession to the Texans. And who knows? I'm not sure what Kittle is looking like. He still might be kind of week to week, game day to day.
He is. He's still day to day.
If they get Kittle back, then it's like I feel like it's almost certain that San Francisco will win. But I'm still going to pick San Fran. I know how much they hate being called San Fran. I'm gonna pick San Fran to win the game, anyways.
Yeah, if Kittle comes back, they're a Super Bowl contender, and I don't really think that is too much of a stretch because Jimmy G has already brought that team to a Super Bowl, and that was before the breakout of Debo. Brandon Ayuk didn't look as good. Their defense didn't look as good. Nick Bosa wasn't one of the best edge threats in the league. Fred Warner wasn't the best middle. I have a lot to say. The Niners are a good team. Finally, I'll let you take it away with this one. Monday Night Football. Classic game. Cowboys versus Giants. I'm going to get mine out of the way. Taking the Giants to win. Studer, you have a floor.
All right, Danny. Couple of nights ago.
Who gets ready?
Couple of nights ago, there was some news that came out. Danny, would you like to know what that news is?
I would love to know what that news is.
I got news. I believe it was on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That Dak Prescott could be playing in this game. Yes, I know. Quite honestly, I
think question mark.
Might have been CBS. I wish I still had the notification on my phone. I probably don't. But
it's fine. Continue.
Sorry, I was looking again to see if I could find it.
Nah, you're fine.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, CBS Sports. Cowboys quarterback might be back as early as week 3, according to team CEO Stephen Jones. He's got a chance. Quite honestly, I think that's Stephen Jones blowing smoke out of his ass. I don't see Dak coming back. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I said this to my dad and I said this to my sister. How is Dak going to have a hand injury? I forget if it was on his throwing or on his non-throwing.
It was on his throwing.
Okay, how is he going to have an injury on his throwing hand that you originally say is going to be 6 to 8 weeks? You say that you might have to go out and trade for another quarterback.
And then you don't.
How is he going to be back for week 3? That makes no sense. How is he going to take just 1 week off? That really doesn't make any sense to me. I also got a notification that Michael Gallup might be back. Dalton Schultz is also questionable. Even if they have Schultz, even if they have Gallup, I think the Giants realistically could win this game. Leonard Williams went down last week with sprained MCL, so he's going to miss games for the first time in his career. I could see him missing maybe 2 or 3 weeks, which sucks because he was playing really well.
Yeah.
Aaron Robinson, not sure if he'll be back. He just had his appendix removed, so he did miss last week against Carolina, but he could be back, which I would love because I would love to see more Aaron Robinson and less Cordell Flott. A big question, how many snaps will Kenny Golladay get? He came out today and said that he wasn't happy and he didn't like the fact that he wasn't getting any playing time last week. To which I say, I mean, what do you expect, dude? You had no touchdowns, and the Giants are paying you, what was it, like $70 million?
Kenny Golladay sucks. Get him off the field.
Very, very frustrating. I would not be upset if the Giants were to replace him. Giants actually favored here by, just like in the Tampa Green Bay game. Giants here are favored by 1. The Giants defense looked pretty good, and that can only get better if they do get Kayvon Thibodeaux and Azeez Ojulari back. Ojulari, I'm expecting him to be back kind of before Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux got injured in the final week of preseason, and then they said that he was going to be out at like 3 to 4 weeks. I don't even know why they were saying there was potential for him to be playing in weeks 1 and 2, especially with the sprained MCL. I don't want them to rush him back, especially as a rookie. But if Thibodeaux and Azeez Ojulari are back, then that just makes this point even better. Danny, give me my big blue. Give me the New York Football Giants to start off 3-0.
That'd be crazy.
See, I mean, I gotta give credit.
That's the only thing that was maybe holding me back from taking the Giants, is that they would start 3-0. That just doesn't. That's not a Giants thing. The Giants don't start 3-0. The Giants don't win games. This is crazy. But I'm still taking the Giants, baby. Riding with them.
Right. I mean, I am a little nervous. This could come down to how Saquon performs, because obviously some eyebrows raised because of Daniel Jones and throwing interceptions. Cooper Rush, though, I'll tip my hat to him. He had some pretty good. He had a good game against Cincinnati. Did Dallas almost blow it against Cincinnati? Yeah, absolutely they did. But Richie James, David Sills, if he plays, Wan'Dale Robinson, obviously Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, hell, even Daniel Bellinger.
Go.
Give me Saquon. I saw a stat today, actually. I want to pull it up really quickly because Bengal, shout out Bengal, he retweeted it. The rushing leaders after week 2. In first place, you have Saquon Barkley with 236. Nick Chubb in second, 228. Jonathan Taylor sits at third with 215. At fourth with 200 rushing yards is DeAndre Swift. Fifth is Leonard Fournette out of Tampa with 192. In sixth place, 185 rushing yards, Saquon Barkley after contact.
What?
Yeah. Saquon Barkley has the most rushing yards overall and the sixth most, with 185 of those rushing yards coming after contact.
That's insane.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. You know what I love about this game? I'm pretty sure I said this last week. I'm sorry, in yesterday's episode. I love. It's very petty, kind of, but I mean, it's a prime time, so I don't blame them for doing it. I love the fact that the Giants are wearing their white color rush jerseys, because I just love the fact that Dallas has to wear blue, because I know Jerry Jones hates wearing the blue jerseys.
Hey, Jerry Jones, I hate you.
I hate you more.
He does. All right. Now that we're done with the pick'ems, let's get into the now. Let's get into the segment.
Aaron Judge is up right now, by the way. Yeah. I'm sorry.
This man is more concerned about Aaron Judge than the podcast.
Aaron Judge just struck out, so now you've got my undivided attention.
Of course he does. That's all he does.
Whoa! All right, chill. That's not a hill that you want to die on.
Maybe last season. So this segment is called Take or Toss, where I'm going to throw out a couple of betting lines provided by betting sources. Not going to name because we're not sponsored. So,
as always, leave a comment and let us know what you're taking, whether you're taking or tossing for all of these.
Of course, or send us
whichever ones you feel like.
Yeah, or send us other ones that are crazy that catch your eye. First one that I want to bring up, I just had it in my face. Amon-Ra St. Brown, over under 71.5 receiving yards. Are you going to take or are you going to toss? Take, you're going over. Toss, you're going under.
I'm going to take, because realistically, I can see him having like a really big, like 50-yard play. So I'm going to take that.
This one is kind of interesting because it's set super low. Hunter Renfrow over under 44.5 receiving yards.
Hunter Renfrow, 44 receiving yards.
44.5. I personally, I'm gonna take. It's Hunter Renfrow, bro. Last season he looked good, and now he's a receiver too. He had a bad game, but I think he's gonna bounce back.
I mean, obviously, one of the biggest questions here is if he even plays. 44 yards, though. I mean, I can see why it's that low, because if he doesn't, you still might limit him. I don't know if I see him.
It's crazy.
I don't know if I see him getting less than 44. I guess I'll take that.
Patrick Mahomes. Take or toss 293.5 passing yards. That's what his line is set at. Almost 300 yards. I'm taking it. Against the Colts, I'm taking it.
It is against the Colts. It's probably why it's so high.
Yeah.
Just to switch it up, I'm going to toss it. And I'm going to say he misses it, but not by much. I'm going to say maybe 275.
Justin Fields, 25.5 passing attempts. Take or toss.
Toss.
I'm tossing.
Oh, toss. Oh, man.
I'm tossing.
Even if it was 19.5, I still might toss.
I'm tossing. Darnell Mooney, 45.5 receiving yards. Take or toss.
Tossing.
I'm tossing. Darnell Mooney, 3 receptions.
He's due, but I don't see it happening.
Darnell Mooney, take or toss, 3 receptions. Toss. They don't pass enough. He has like 2 receptions on the season. And one of them is for negative yards.
3 receptions?
3 receptions.
I'm actually going to take that.
Okay. I'll give you a couple more, and then I have a couple different ones. Kyle Pitts, take or toss, 49.5 receiving yards. Please take. I'm taking personally. But I have to. So
Atlanta against who's Atlanta playing again? Oh my god.
Seahawks.
Right. Yeah, I'll take it.
Fair enough. That's a good I think that's a good take. Mm-hmm. Austin Eckler, 57.5 rushing yards. Take or toss. That's a rough one.
Consider it is.
If Herbert plays or not.
We go back and look at something with the Chargers really quickly. The Chargers and the Jags. How many rushing yards have they allowed? 78. I'm gonna toss.
You're tossing?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Combined, I'm gonna say he rounds out around 58.
Wasn't the line 57.5?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was 75. I don't know why I flipped that 5 and that 7. In that case, are you tossing regardless?
Oh no, I'm taking. I would have tossed if it was 75.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm sorry. Oh,
right.
Also, you know what? The Chargers rushing yard allowed. Oh, actually, no. The Jaguars have let up even less than 70. They've given up only 69.5. I'll take.
All right. One that is a little this is gonna be the last one. Passing yards. Who has more in their game? Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Now think of it, if you were looking at it and you saw that Ryan Tannehill to win that is plus 60.5, would you think about taking Tannehill plus 60.5? That's a lot. That's a lot of odds.
Absolutely not.
Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Justin Jefferson receiving yards. Who wins that one? That'll be the last one.
This is interesting too, considering the fact that they're playing each other.
Yeah, I like that this app does rivals. So you can see they bet 2 players against each other and you get to pick who you think.
I think I know which app you're talking about.
Oh,
I'd love to get a sponsorship with this app.
And I know you know what app we're talking about.
Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson.
I would go Amon-Ra. I would. Again,
You're just saying that because you have him in fantasy.
Shut up. And we could get a sponsorship from that app because this is the only one that we can legally use in the state of New Jersey.
Should we just say? Should we show them some love? Maybe that'll help us.
No.
Okay.
Pay me first. All right. So that will do it for this episode of the DNDTS podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you are on audio platforms, please consider giving us a rate and maybe hitting us up on social media. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Give us some suggestions. Give us some questions. We'll answer them. If you are on YouTube, please hit that subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. Share us. Just give us to one of your friends, and the one of your friends give us to another one of your friends. We really
want to spread like a disease.
That's one way to put it, man. Given the past 2 years, I mean, that's something.
Oh, damn.
I want an apology video with tears right now.
All right.
But we're really feeling the love that you guys have been showing. Like this is the most consistent that we've been, and it's really paying off, man.
And the views have been there, and we really appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate the love. So thank you guys so much. We'll be back. Probably the next episode will most likely be next week for the week 3 recap. If not, we might get one done sooner. It'll just depend on some timing. All right. Thank you guys so much. Studio guy, anything you want to say before we head out?
I am all good, Danny. Just want to say thank you guys as always. And we will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye, guys.